Hello everyone, welcome to EduTap and welcome to the Finance 360-degree sessions in which we cover all the relevant and important finance current affairs and the RBI notifications which are important from your exam point of view. And in today's session, I have brought for you a very important framework that has been recently released by the Reserve Bank of India, that is in regards to the self-regulatory organizations. So what are these self-regulatory organizations and what is the complete framework that has been released by the Reserve Bank of India that is being talked about in so many of the important newspapers? So what is this SRO framework? What are the SROs and why there was the need for the self-regulatory organizations? Okay, so everything we are going to discuss in today's session, as well as there is a big announcement and you can say that there is a big news that the Reserve Bank of India has completed its 90 years and the Reserve Bank of India is celebrating the 90th anniversary. So I hope you remember that when the RBI was established and now RBI has completed 90 years. So we will discuss about this news article that the RBI is celebrating the 90 years of its completion, as well as how the RBI has celebrated it. There is a coin that has been released for the RBI at the rate 90. Okay, so everything we will discuss about this in the next session, but I hope you know that the RBI has completed its 90 years and that is a big thing for our country. That the RBI, the Reserve Bank of India, has completed 90 years of successful work. Now coming to the SROs, this is very important from the exam perspective, from the descriptive point of view, from the objective point of view. There are many of the details that you can understand. There are many of the facts that are important from directly the objective point of view of the examination in the phase 1, in the phase 2. Okay, so let's start with the news article. So before that, do subscribe to the YouTube channel so that you can continue get such important sessions, such relevant sessions, okay, as well as join our Telegram channel where you get the PDF of the session. So you will get the PDF of the session in the Telegram channel. So let's get started with the session. So the omnibus framework for recognizing the SROs. There is the omnibus framework that has been released by the Reserve Bank of India for recognizing the self-regulatory organizations. So good morning to everyone. So let's start with today's session. So omnibus framework has been released by the Reserve Bank of India for recognizing the SROs. This is a single framework that has been released for the different regulatory entities under the Reserve Bank of India. So the Reserve Bank of India regulates the banks, the Reserve Bank of India regulates the NBFCs, the Reserve Bank of India also regulates some of the fintech system in the country. Okay, so the fintech system or the fintech players are somewhat regulated by the Reserve Bank of India. So for all of them, there is the single framework for recognizing the SROs that has been released by the Reserve Bank of India. Okay, now Reserve Bank of India is entrusted with regulating the currency and the credit system in the country. By regulating the banks, by regulating most of the NBFCs, the Reserve Bank of India is the one that is regulating the currency and the credit system of the country to its advantage as to maintain stability of the financial system, stability of the the price stability has to be maintained by the Reserve Bank of India, as well as the stability of the financial system has to be maintained by the Reserve Bank of India. Reserve Bank of India is the one that is maintaining the value of the currency and is not letting the rupees depreciate a lot. So the Reserve Bank of India has multiple functions and multiple responsibilities that I hope you all know about. Then to this end, Reserve Bank has prescribed necessary regulatory framework for its regulated entities. So the Reserve Bank of India prescribes the regulations for the regulated entities, for the banks, for the NBFCs, for the other regulated entities, for all the regulated entities under the Reserve Bank of India. Reserve Bank of India has the regulatory framework for all the regulated entities. Now, with the growth of the regulated entities, you can understand that how fast the banks are growing. There are many of the cooperative banks that are coming up, many of the regional rural banks that are coming up, many of the small finance bank, payments bank, and multiple kinds of banks that are coming up, that are sprouting up. Their branches are expanding. So as well as the NBFCs are also growing, the fintech players, the fintech companies, the small companies, they are also growing very fast. So with the growth of the regulated entities in terms of number as well as the scale of their operations, okay, we want the regulated entities, we want the banks, the NBFCs, the lending facilities, the credit facilities to reach to the far off areas, and now they have started to reach to the far off areas through multiple schemes, through multiple programs. But you have to understand that when they are reaching to the far off areas, that means the scale, the operation is also extending. Okay. So increase in adoption of innovative technologies. Before you had to go to the bank branches to get the loans, but now through the digital lending platforms, you can get the loans in seconds. Okay, so there are multiple fintech players that have come up, such as Earth, such as Cash-E, such as Incred. Okay, and there are other examples such as Capital Now. Okay, the Leo One, Loan Tap, FairSend. So these are some of the fintech players that have sprouted up, and there are numbers, hundreds of fintech players that are providing different facilities through the innovative technologies. Now, if you want to get the credit, you can get the credit through the digital lending platforms also. So the innovative technologies are being adopted and enhanced customer outreach. Okay, customer outreach has expanded. A need is felt to develop better industry standards for self-regulation, because the Reserve Bank of India is only one entity that has to regulate thousands and lakhs of different entities. Okay, so under the Reserve Bank of India, the entities are spreading very fast. They are increasing very fast. So it becomes very difficult for the Reserve Bank of India to regulate each and every of the entity very in the minuscule manner. It becomes very difficult for the RBI to manage them. That's why there is the need for the self-regulatory organizations. That's why there is the need for the SROs. So with the ever-growing adoption of the innovative technologies coupled with the rapid growth that is happening of the regulated entities, it is becoming cumbersome for the Reserve Bank of India to effectively regulate the sector, the different sectors, the banking sector, the lending sector, the fintech sector and such. Self-regulatory organizations, they can provide a vital link between the regulator, between the Reserve Bank of India and the regulated entities. So if there are the self-regulatory organizations, they will be the non-profit organizations that will have the bank players or the NBFC players under as the member of the SROs. So SROs, there will be different SROs in the different segments, in the different sectors, and they will have, like, let's say the banking SRO will have the banks as its members, and this SRO will directly be connected with the Reserve Bank of India. Similarly, in the fintech sector, there will be one SRO or there can be multiple SROs, 2 or 3 SROs that will be recognized by the Reserve Bank of India, and these SROs in the fintech sector will be acquiring the members, will be acquiring or will take the fintech players as its members and directly will connect them to the Reserve Bank of India. So you can understand that with the SROs, with the self-regulatory organizations that will be non-profit organization, how easy it will become for the Reserve Bank of India to regulate the different sector. So the SROs, they can provide a vital link between the regulator and the market participants through a less formal setup. Its overarching objective, the SRO's overarching objective is to support the member entities. So if the SRO is for the fintech sector, then the SRO will have the member entities that will be the fintech players, that will be the fintech companies such as the Incred or such as the Loan Tap, and such kind of organizations, such kind of fintech players will be the members of the SRO. In adhering, so the objective of the SRO is to support its member entities to adhere to the regulatory and industry standards with a focus on customer welfare and protection. So the main task of the SROs will be to look after its member entities, so that the member entities are working very efficiently, they are having the innovations, they are rapidly growing in the sector, as well as they are following the rules and regulations, and that's how the SRO will be connected to the RBI. And the SROs will be maintaining that the member entities work efficiently, they are innovating regularly, there is the good standards that are being practiced, and the member entities should also be following the rules and regulations that have been set by the Reserve Bank of India. So between the member entities and the Reserve Bank of India, SROs will be an important pillar that will be developed. Okay, SROs can also act as a watchdog and encourage the members to follow and adopt the responsible and ethical practices. And it's not like that SROs are new. SROs are not new for the Reserve Bank of India. In 2014, the central bank accorded recognition to the microfinance industry network as an SRO for the non-banking finance corporation microfinance industry. On the other hand, other existing SROs are the Indian Banks Association, that we all know as IBA, Foreign Exchange Dealers Association of India, Association of Mutual Funds in India, and Fixed Income Money Markets and Derivative Association of India. So they all have already got the SRO status. So what is the need for the framework for the recognition of SROs when there are already these SROs that are present? To have a single norm, single framework for all the segments, for all the sectors. So this is why the recognition of SROs framework has been released by the Reserve Bank of India, to give more importance to the SROs, to give more powers to the SROs, and to let the country know that okay, SROs will be having the member entities, and these member entities, the SRO will have the task to maintain these member entities and to let these member entities innovate as well as work under the regulatory framework and to comply the regulations. So this is the idea of the SROs. I hope the SROs are clear, because if the SROs are clear, then only you will understand the framework. So this is the full idea of SROs. Is it clear? Give me a thumbs up that you have the basic idea of the SROs. As we move forward, yes, it will get clearer that what are SROs, why there are the SROs. So SROs are very important. They can be instrumental in adapting to the changing regulatory landscape. If RBI is making any new rules or regulation, it will become hard for the small fintech players to understand those rules and regulation and to follow those rules and regulations sometime. Okay, because RBI is not going to every fintech player, every small company to tell that okay, we have launched this and you have to follow this. No, and the fintech players, they sometimes do not understand that what is going on in the regulation. So the fintech players, the small players will be connected to the SROs, and SROs will explain that okay, RBI has brought this new norm that you have to follow, and this is why the RBI has launched this for your own benefit. Okay, so this is the idea. So SROs, they are important for adapting to the changing regulatory landscape due to the regular interaction, because the SROs will be regularly interacting with the RBI. That will be the task of the SROs to regularly interact with the Reserve Bank of India. With the RBI, they will be interacting, and at the same time, they can adapt they can be very adept in adapting to the changing technologies. They will encourage their member entities to adapt to the innovative technologies. So let us understand some of the background. So in view of the potential role of the SROs in strengthening compliance culture, that the Reserve Bank of India is releasing some rules and regulation. There will be SROs that will be explaining these rules and regulations to the member entities, so that the member entities can follow these rules and regulation in a better manner. So this will strengthen the compliance culture among their members and also provide a consultative platform for policy making. The SROs can also inform the RBI that okay, this kind of regulation can harm the sector, this kind of regulation is not very good for the sector. So there can be a consultative kind of environment and platform that can be provided through the SROs. So the member entities will inform the SROs, okay, that this particular regulation can be very harmful for the sector. We will not be able to develop or we will not be able to innovate. So the SRO will inform the RBI, and then there will be the consultations that can happen. It has been decided to issue an omnibus framework for recognizing the SROs for various regulated entities of the Reserve Bank of India. So a single framework has been released for recognizing the SROs for different sectors. There can be the SROs in the fintech, SROs for the banking sector, SROs for the NBFCs and such. So this kind of development. Now the statement on developmental and regulatory policies was released in October 6th, 2023, in which it was decided that the RBI will be providing a full structure, a full framework for the SROs in the digital lending industry specifically. But now the RBI has released the SRO framework for all the regulated entities, and not only for the fintech sector, not only for the digital lending industry. So this is some of the background. Now coming to the framework of the SROs. You have understood that what is SRO. So now let's understand the framework of the SROs. Let me tell you that from each and every slide the question can come, that what are the characteristics of SRO, options will be given, what are the responsibilities of SRO, options will be given. You have to select the correct option. So be very, very attentive. Do not sleep in between. Okay. So starting with characteristics of the SRO, the SROs are expected. SRO is expected to operate with credibility, objectivity and responsibility to maintain a healthy and sustainable environment for the sector and to lead to the development of the sector. Okay. For this perspective, the SROs, they have some characteristics. So first of all, sufficient authority. The SROs must have sufficient authority on its members, so that when the SRO is making some rules and regulation, the members follow. If the SRO is making a code of conduct for the whole of the industry or for its members, the members have to follow that. Okay, so the sufficient authority should be with the SRO, that is derived from membership agreement. So SRO, let's say it is the SRO in the banking sector, it is coming into the membership agreements with SDFC Bank, with ICICI Bank, and with multiple banks. Let's say the SRO is for the fintech sector, and it is coming into a membership agreement with the InCred, with the LoanTap, with the Fair Credit, and such fintech players. So the SRO, these fintech companies are becoming the member of the SROs. Okay, so the sufficient authority should be derived from the membership agreement to set ethical, professional, and governance standards and enforce these standards on the members. So members will have to follow these basic standards. It should have strong governance mechanism. The SRO should have strong governance mechanism, including focus on independent board, transparency, and adherence to the well-defined process, as well as objective, well-defined, and consultative process to make the rules, so that the members, they do not feel that they are being monopolized or they are being pressurized to do something. So there should be a consultative process that should be made to make the rules relating to the conduct of its members, and shall be able to enforce these rules. So the SRO should be able to enforce these rules also, and SRO should see the process and procedures for overseeing the activities of the members. So if the SRO is overseeing the activities of its members, there should be a transparent mechanism to oversee the activities of the members. Okay, so it should establish such kind of standards of conduct and specify the consequences if the violation is happening of the code of conduct, if the violation is happening of the rules and regulation. There should be the counseling, cautioning, reprimanding, and expelling. These kind of things can be introduced or can be done with the member, that okay, member is not following a particular norm. So these kind of things can be followed, but there should be no monetary penalties that can be levied by the SRO, because it is only in the right of the Reserve Bank of India to apply the monetary penalties. The SROs cannot apply the monetary penalties. Develop standards. So the SRO characteristics will be that it will be developing the standard for improving the compliance culture, adherence by its members to the rules and regulations set by the Reserve Bank of India, as well as the SRO has to devise and implement standardized procedures for handling the dispute among the members also, that among the fintech players, among the fintech companies, there are the disputes that are arising. So that has to be handled by the SRO also. Suitable surveillance methods for effective monitoring of the sector, that what is happening in the sector, is there any kind of fallout that is happening in the sector, any kind of problem that is coming in the sector. So that has to be handled first by the SRO. Strive to develop the ecosystem of the sector. So innovation has to be promoted by the SRO, that okay, the multiple market players, the multiple fintech companies are coming together for better innovation of the different products. Okay, standards, best practices developed by SRO for its members. Now you will say that SRO has so much of the power, okay, that it can make the code of conduct, it can make some of the rules and regulations. Why the members or why the fintech companies will want to join SROs? First of all, the fintech companies will be directly able to connect with the SRO to know the rules and regulations that they have to follow in terms of what RBI is saying. Okay, so that the fintech companies, they are not lagging behind in following the rules and regulation, then directly the RBI can stop, these fintech companies can stop the functioning of the fintech companies. So the fintech companies, to know that what RBI is doing, they can directly connect with the SRO, they can become a member of SRO. Second, if they are becoming the member of SRO, the public will have more confidence in these kind of companies, that okay, the fintech companies, that the LoanTap or the Fair Credit, and these companies, they are under a SRO, they are under a self-regulatory organization, and they are following the best practices. So that means these particular companies in the fintech sector are good, and we should become the customer of these particular companies. So that is the mindset of the like if a fintech entity wants to become a member of the SRO, it can become the member of the SRO for these purposes. Okay, and it is not compulsory for the fintech companies or for the different market players to become the member of SRO. If they want to, then only they will become the member of SRO. What is the objective of SRO? to promote the culture of compliance among its members, that they are complying with the rules and regulations that are set by the Reserve Bank of India, rather than RBI taking the actions. Like the action was taken against the Paytm Payments Bank because the Paytm Payments Bank has not followed the rules and regulation. There was the action that is taken by the Reserve Bank of India against the IIFL Finance, that the IIFL Finance cannot further provide the gold loans. So instead of RBI taking the actions on you, just comply with the rules and regulations. So that will be promoted by the SROs. Okay. Encouraging the progressive practices and conventions. Special attention must be given on extending guidance and support to the members. So guidance and support will be provided to the member entities so that they can further innovate and they can further work in an efficient manner. Okay, particularly to smaller entities within the sector, and that's why the smaller entities have more of the incentive to join the SRO, because they will be getting the help from the SRO, and sharing best practices aligned with statutory and regulatory policies. So the SRO should frame and implement a comprehensive code of conduct for its members. Then act as a collective voice. So when SRO is going to the RBI, is going to meet the RBI, so SRO for the fintech sector will work as the voice for the whole of the fintech sector, that okay, our sector wants this kind of thing. Yes, these regulations we will be following, but we should be given some kind of leverage, or let's say that we are developing some innovative technology. So can RBI allow this kind of technology? So SRO will work as a collective voice for its members. Okay. Aim to represent and address the broader industry concerns and play a pivotal and important role in the functioning of the financial system. SRO functions above the self-interest. SRO are the non-profit organizations, so they should not have any self-interest. They should be working in the interest of the market. They should be working in the interest of the whole of the industry and their members in particular, and address the larger concerns of the industry and financial system as a whole. SRO is expected to ensure equitable and transparent treatment for all its members. It's not like that some members are small members, so they should be treated badly. No, it should not happen like this. Okay. Next is collect and share relevant sectoral information to the RBI. So this is the main purpose of RBI, to establish the SRO, to get the andar ki news, you can say, to get the news regarding what the members are doing, what new innovations they are doing, what kind of task that they are performing, what kind of consumers are they acquiring, are they undertaking the best practices or not. So the RBI will be collecting the sectoral information from the SROs. So this is the main purpose of RBI, to establish the SRO, because RBI cannot go to each and every fintech company to know that okay, what you are doing. RBI cannot do that. RBI has to handle so many lakhs of organizations, lakhs of institutions. But the SROs, they will have some particular members. Okay, in the fintech sector only there can be 3 or 4 SROs that can be established. So it's not like that one sector will have one SRO. No, but RBI will be meeting with these 4 SROs in the fintech sector to know that what their members are doing, how their members are functioning, are they following the best practices or not. So you can understand that this kind of thing will be done. So RBI cannot meet with the lakhs of the institutions, but the RBI can meet with the SROs. You can understand that the principal is there, that is looking after the whole of the school. From 1st to 12th class, there are different classes. Now the principal cannot go to each and every student that what you are doing, how you are performing, how this particular class is performing. But the principal has hired the teachers, and the teachers will be informing the principal that okay, this class is doing good and this class is doing bad, this class is good, this class is bad. So you can understand that same framework is being adopted. RBI is like a principal, SROs are like the teachers that will have the classes, that is the companies under them as their member entities. Now remember this analogy to understand the SROs. So collect and share the relevant sectoral information to the RBI, as well as SRO should also use the information to foster innovation, to promote innovation and coordinate on the introduction of new products within the sector and with their players. Encourage a culture of research and development within the sector to encourage innovation within the sector, and ensuring highest standard of the compliance and self-governance is being maintained by the member entity. So you can understand that a culture of research and development will be promoted, the innovations will be promoted, that okay, we have got the permission from RBI, we can innovate this particular technology, or do not worry, you do the innovation, SROs are the ones that will talk with the RBI that okay, this kind of technology is good for the country, they are following all the rules and regulations, they are following all the regulations, this technology should come into the country, okay, and this will benefit the fintech players also and the consumers also. So this kind of the argument can be given by the SROs with the RBI. So they will promote the innovation in the country. Next is responsibilities of the SRO towards the members. Now, if you are joining as a member to a SRO, what responsibilities the SRO has towards the member entities, that is there. Primary responsibility of the SRO towards its members would be to promote best business practices, because if the members are following the best business practices, there will be more consumer trust that will be on them. Why do you not take the loans from the digital lending platforms? There are many people that are afraid of the digital lending platforms because you know that they might be charging hidden taxes or they might be charging hidden fees, hidden charges. Their interest rate can be very high against the normal loans, or they might be sending their gundas or something to your house to take the money. So you do not know that how they function or how badly they can affect your mindset or your mental state. So that's why you do not like to undertake any kind of loans from the digital lending platform, even if a digital lending platform is good. So the SROs are going to promote the best business practices so that the consumers have more trust on these fintech players if they are working good. The SRO shall establish a minimum benchmarks and conventions for professional market conduct amongst its members, that you cannot go to someone's house to take the money. Okay. First, try to take the money through the direct sources that call them or try to remind them, try to send the messages and something. In the interest of its member, the SRO should aim to protect the interest of the customers or the depositors also, because then the depositors, then the customers will have more of the trust on the fintech players. Okay, participants and other stakeholders in the ecosystem. In particular, SRO should discharge these particular responsibilities for the members. First of all, frame a code of conduct for your members to be followed by your members, and monitor the adherence of the code as well as compliance with the regulatory instructions by the members. Okay, this is the first thing that you have to do for the members, that they are working in a healthy environment, in a healthy manner. Okay, develop a uniform, reasonable and non-discriminatory membership fee structure. Of course, they are the members of your organization, so they should be giving some fees also. That's how the non-profit organization can work. Disseminate sector-specific information through periodicals, bulletins, pamphlets, magazines to the public, so that the public is aware that okay, what is going on in this fintech sector. Okay, this new technology is developed by this sector, by these companies. Okay, they are the companies that are working so efficiently and in a healthy environment, in a healthy manner. So we should be taking the loan from these companies that are the good companies. Establish a grievance redressal and dispute resolution arbitration framework, that is if any of the dispute is arising between two members, so that should be resolved by the SRO, as well as grievance redressal of the consumers can be handled by the SRO also, and the grievance redressal of the members should be done by the SRO also. Next is promote knowledge of the regulations, rules and regulations set by the Reserve Bank of India. Provide necessary resources for the exchange of expertise. So two different companies, one is a company that is very efficient in the app development, the other company is very efficient in the marketing of the app. So these two companies can come together to share their expertise and they can work together in a better manner. So exchange the expertise and experience among the members so that they can work in a better manner. It may also arrange for training programs and such, educate public about operations of the regulated entities, how they work and how you can safeguard yourself from the frauds, that okay, our companies do not call you, they do not try to give you loans on call. So this kind of information can be provided that okay, this is wrong and this is correct, this is how we operate. Okay, so this is the whole process. Now responsibility of the SRO towards the regulator. Now the SRO has responsibilities towards the Reserve Bank of India also. So SRO is expected to be an ally of the Reserve Bank of India. In short, SRO will be providing the information to the Reserve Bank of India, ensuring better compliance with the regulatory guidelines. The members of the SROs should be following the compliance, should be following the rules and regulations set by the RBI. Development of the sector should be done by the SROs. Protection of the stakeholders interest, protection of the interest of the members and the consumers, foster innovation and detection of early warning signals, because the SRO is directly connected with the member entities. So SRO should be aware that, okay, what are the problems that are coming up, so the SROs can detect the early warning signals. It should strive to achieve the objectives set forth for the SRO. SRO is also expected to act as a bridge between the Reserve Bank of India and the regulated entities. So SROs will be working as the bridge. SRO shall discharge the following responsibilities toward the regulator. So first of all, keep the RBI regularly informed of the developments that are happening in a particular sector. In the banking sector, by the banking SROs, in the fintech sector, by the fintech SROs and such. It shall also promptly inform the RBI about any of the violation that has been done by its member entity. So let's say a particular member entity, let's say XYZ member entity of a SRO has done any kind of violation. So SRO has to inform about this violation to the RBI. So you can understand that the Paytm Payments Bank has done some violation. Now the RBI came to know because of some external information after nearly a year, let's say. So instead of that, as soon as the Paytm Payments Bank has made any kind of violation, SRO came to know about it, because SRO is directly connected with the Paytm Payment Bank or with its member entities. SRO will directly tell to the RBI and RBI will immediately take the action. So how fast and efficient the process will become, that you can think about. Okay, so this is the idea. Next is carry out any work that is assigned to the SRO by the Reserve Bank of India, that will have to be done by the SRO, as well as data information has to be provided by the SRO to the RBI, as well as sought by the, if RBI is asking for any of the additional information, that has to be provided by the SRO. Okay, so SRO has to remember that it is working under the Reserve Bank of India, or it is working as an entity that should be connecting the regulated entities with the RBI. SRO should not think themselves above RBI in a way. Okay, they should provide any of the information when the RBI asks for. So carry out any work that is assigned by the RBI, is examining the proposal or suggestion referred to it, as well as it shall provide data information whenever the RBI asks for. Submit the annual report to the RBI within 3 months of the completion of the accounting year. The SRO shall also submit the periodic or ad hoc returns as may be prescribed by the Reserve Bank of India. Engage in periodic interactions with the RBI. That's how you are a bridge between the regulated entities and the RBI. The SROs will be connecting with the RBI on the regular interactions, on the regular intervals. It is expected that SRO would look at the larger picture for the industry, for the sector, and will not just bind themselves with some members. They will be looking at the bigger picture and they will be providing the views, inputs and suggestions to the Reserve Bank of India. Discharge such other functions and also abide by such other directions as may be specified by RBI, and the Reserve Bank, if it deems necessary, can inspect the books of the SRO and arrange for the inspection of the books of the SRO, and the full fees has to be borne by the SRO. So if the RBI has find it necessary to check the books of the SRO, RBI will be doing it, or RBI will hire an authority to do it, and the SROs will have to bear the expenses for the inspection. Okay. So now next is eligibility criteria for the applicant. So in order to ensure that the SRO delivers on its objective and responsibilities, it is important to ensure that it is independent, it has the integrity, and it is working in a free manner, okay, independent manner. So it should be a not-for-profit company registered under Section 8 of the Companies Act. The shareholding of the SRO should be sufficiently diversified, okay. No single entity should have the power over the SRO. Then it will make the SRO work for itself. So its shareholding should be diversified, and no single entity shall hold 10% or more of its paid up share capital, either singly or acting in concert with some other organization. Okay, so that is the idea. Next is the applicant must represent the sector. It's not like that the SRO is for the fintech sector, but it has AIFs or it has the mutual funds as its members, or it has some other organizations as its members, or some banks as its members. No, if the SRO is for the fintech sector, it should have the members from the fintech sector. So applicant must represent the sector and have the specified, there should be a minimum membership. Minimum members should be member of the SRO. So it should have a minimum membership criteria also. should have submitted roadmap for attaining the specified membership. So the Reserve Bank of India will be informing the SRO that if you are working in the fintech sector, this is the minimum number of members that you should have. It can be 100, that you should have minimum 100 members or minimum 50 members. Then only we will recognize you as the SRO. Or otherwise, if you are not able to get the minimum members within 1 year or within 2 years, then we will take away your license as a SRO. So you can understand that this is the idea, that there should be a minimum membership that is specified by the Reserve Bank of India. The applicant and its directors must have professional competence. If they are working in the fintech sector, if they are the SROs of the fintech sector, they must have knowledge of the fintech sector and have general reputation of fairness and integrity. If there is any legal proceeding that is going, if the person is having moral turpitude, that is morally the person is not good or morally the director is not good, that should not happen. Okay. So there should be fairness, reputation of fairness and integrity, as well as neither the applicant nor any of its directors should be involved in any of the legal proceedings and such. The applicant must be fit and proper for the grant of recognition as an SRO. So if you want to become an SRO, you should be fit and proper. Your directors should be fit and proper. The Reserve Bank of India, while granting recognition as an SRO to an entity, if the Reserve Bank of India deems fit, they can prescribe, RBI can prescribe additional norms also. Okay. Next, governance framework for the SRO. So SRO is expected to operate with transparency, professionalism, and foster greater confidence in the integrity of the sector. So that's why they should be working independently, and there is the governance framework of the SRO that has been provided by the Reserve Bank of India. So SRO shall be professionally managed and have a suitable provision in their articles of association. What is articles of association? It is a document that specifies the purpose of the entity as well as the rules and regulations, that how the entity will work and how the members of the entity will work. So that is the articles of association. This is a document for the company that the company has made, that what is the purpose of the company, how the company will work, what are the rules and regulations that the company will be following, what the rules and regulations members will be following. So the SRO shall be professionally managed. It's not like that, okay, your family has started the SRO. Just you are starting a SRO without the understanding, without the complete knowledge of the fintech sector or the banking sector. So no, it should be professionally managed and have a suitable provision in their articles of association to ensure this. Articles of association is a complete end-to-end document for your company, how your company will be run or governed, how your company will be governed. Okay. So AOA or the bylaws shall clearly provide for the manner in which board of directors, governing body would function, duly addressing issues of conflict that is arising in between their board of directors. AOA, that is the complete document of the SRO, shall specify the functions it will discharge, the purpose it has, as well as criteria for admission of the members, criteria for expulsion of the members, suspension of the members, or readmission of the members. It should be clearly defined. Directors shall fulfill the fit and proper criteria as framed by the board of the SRO. So the board of the SRO will form a fit and proper criteria for the directors. On an ongoing basis, they should be done. The director should have expertise, experience and such. At least one third of the members of the board of directors, including the chairperson, shall be independent and without any active association with the category or class of regulated entities for which the SRO is established. That means if the SRO is established for the fintech sector, 1/3 of the board members as well as the chairperson should not have any connection with any of the fintech companies, with any of the members, you can understand, or with any of the fintech company or any of the category or class of the regulated entity that the SRO is regulating or SRO is managing in a way. Okay. Next is the board shall, among others, frame a policy on rotation of directors for different positions in the different committees. Any change in the directorship or any adverse information about the director, that okay, the director has done something wrong, the insolvency, the director is becoming insolvent, so any of the adverse information, any of the change has to be reported to the Reserve Bank of India. The board shall ensure that the SRO has adequately skilled human resources, technical capability and transparent practices. Recognized SROs shall ensure to comply with the provisions of relevant acts, guidelines and such by the Reserve Bank of India that has been released by the Reserve Bank of India. Application for recognition has to be sent by the SRO. Okay. So the process of seeking recognition as an SRO shall be robust as to ensure adherence to the set of stringent parameters that is set by the Reserve Bank of India. So all of these has to be submitted by the SRO to the Reserve Bank of India. So application made by the applicant shall be accompanied by copy of the memorandum of association, that is the article of association, that how the SRO is going to work and in what association that has to be told. Article of association has to be provided. Memorandum of association, that is it is connected with what particular entity or it is going to work with which organization. Details of constitution of its board of directors and roles and responsibilities, powers and duties and such and such. So this is what has to be provided by the SRO. So if the entity wants to get a license as a SRO, they have to provide different documents. Okay. So this is the idea, that where the applicant is deemed suitable, the Reserve Bank would proceed to issue a letter of recognition to the SRO. So what will happen that, okay, the company has provided, the entity has provided all the documents and they are very good, they are working, they are seemingly fine. So the RBI can provide the letter of recognition to the SRO. The entity will be provided the status of SRO. But if the RBI is rejecting the application, that okay, you have not provided this particular document, so the RBI, while rejecting the application, first has to inform the applicant. Before rejecting any such application, the RBI has to inform the applicant and give an opportunity to the applicant that within 15 days can you provide us this particular document. So the opportunity has to be provided. Okay, but the RBI has the rights reserved to not grant recognition of any SRO. But if the RBI is rejecting a particular application, 15 days has to be provided to the applicant to provide the additional documents. Condition for grant of recognition. Conditions, you can understand that the RBI will provide the SRO status if all the information is true and not misleading, they are adhering to the norms established by the RBI on the continuing basis, as well as they are adhering to the terms and conditions governing its recognition. They shall be subject to the periodic review by the Reserve Bank of India, as well as Reserve Bank can revoke the recognition that is granted to the SRO if in the future the RBI is finding that okay, they are not following the particular norms or they are detrimental to the public interest. So the RBI can also revoke the license. Next is membership. So it is necessary that the SRO operates as a true representative of the sector. It should not be like that the SRO only has 2 fintech members and it is saying that okay, we are representing the whole of the fintech sector. That should not be done, right? Because 2 fintech companies, SRO having only 2 fintech companies cannot connect with the RBI in the on the behalf of the whole of the fintech sector. Cannot represent, this SRO cannot represent whole of the fintech sector, or the majority of the fintech sector cannot be represented by this SRO. So it is necessary that the SRO operates as a true representative of the sector and its members should be some minimum amount of members it should have. So therefore the SRO should have a good mix of members, small fintech companies, big fintech companies, medium fintech companies and such. They should be a part of the SRO. Accordingly, membership criteria of the SRO shall be prescribed by the Reserve Bank of India, that okay, you should have 100 members, 50 small members, 50 large and medium members, or 60 or 70 small members and 30 large members. So something like this prescribed by the Reserve Bank of India at the time of inviting the application, and the SRO has to fulfill this criteria. So the minimum membership that may be prescribed by the RBI shall be attained ideally at the time of making an application, that before making the application, first have the members. Okay, then make the application that okay, now you want to become a SRO. So there is a company Phase that is also working as a non-profit organization that has various fintech members as its members. Now the phase has, like in 2022 or 2023, the phase has given the application to the Reserve Bank of India to be recognized as a SRO. You can go and search the phase in the fintech sector. So that is a company, that is a non-profit organization. It is working for the member entities. So it has given the application for becoming the SRO. So this should be the criteria, that ideally you should first have the member, you should be working in the fintech space, and then you should have the minimum members. Within, or if you do not have the minimum members, then within a timeline will be provided to you. Within that timeline, have the minimum of the members. Okay, so such a timeline will be prescribed by the Reserve Bank of India, that will not be exceeding 2 years. That will not be exceeding 2 years from the date of grant of the recognition. Failure to achieve specified membership within the timeline could result in revocation of the recognition that has been granted. Okay. The membership of SRO shall be voluntary for the members. For sure, fintech members cannot be forced to join a particular SRO. Now, this is the end of the slide. This is the end of the whole of the guidelines. So, SROs, they enhance the effectiveness of the regulations that are being made by the Reserve Bank of India, and they are the by drawing upon the technical expertise of practitioners, SRO will have such members, or SROs will have such board of directors that will be very well versed in the fintech space, or very well versed in the banking space if they are the SRO of banking. So they will be able to provide their expertise to the member entities. Okay. Next is, SROs can also help in fostering the innovation. Bringing different members at the same place will promote cooperation between the member entities. So it will promote innovation, transparency, fair competition, and consumer protection. In some, self-regulation shall complement the existing regulatory statutory framework for better compliance in letter and spirit. So this is the idea, that SROs, they can actually foster innovation, transparency, better working condition for the member entities, better competition, fair competition, and consumer protection. And they will be, it's not like that the RBI is going to stop regulating the regulated entities. RBI is the regulator, but RBI is saying that you should also self-regulate, that you are so many of you, that you should also start self-regulating and working in a better manner. In deliverance of this role, the SRO shall frame necessary best practices or standards or codes within the regulatory framework. Within the regulatory framework that has been set by the RBI, the SRO should be making some basic code of conduct within the regulatory framework prescribed by the RBI for voluntary adoption by its members to showcase that how well we are working. Okay, like there are the governance structure that is followed by the companies, that to show that okay, we are following the proper governance and we are a good company that has good governance. Similarly, if they are following the code of conduct, it will show that okay, they want to work in a healthy environment, they want to have a fair competition, they want to work in a transparent environment, they do not want to do anything bad. Okay, voluntary adoption by the members, and these shall not be substitute to the prescribed regulatory framework. It's not like that you are following the code of conduct of the SRO, so now you do not have to follow the norms of the RBI. The norms of the RBI are the final norms that the SRO should be promoting, that the members have to follow. Okay. So the last one is that existing SROs already recognized by the RBI. So we have seen that in 2014 there was the SRO that was for the microfinance institutions. There are the different SROs that are there for the foreign exchange, for the mutual funds and such. So these SROs are recognized before they will be working still. So existing SROs already recognized by the RBI, they will be governed, shall continue to be governed by the terms and conditions at the time they were established, unless this framework specifically extended to such SROs. So it will be informed later on. So this is it for today. This is the first question. I hope you will be easily able to answer this question. Try to take a screenshot and try to answer this in the comment section. So this is a homework question. Try to answer it. So this is the second question. I hope you will be easily able to answer this question also. If you have any outsourcing by RBI, you can say that. Very good connection. Yes, it can not completely, but yes, correct analogy. So this is the second question. Now there is a big announcement from EduTap that we have brought for you the comprehensive guidebook for RBI, NABARD and SEBI, so that through a single guidebook you are going to get immense information regarding the examination, the syllabus, the pattern of the examination. The previous year questions are also provided with this guidebook. So in the description box, there is a link that is provided to you through which you can have the access to this guidebook. Okay, so this is absolutely free of cost to save your time, to save your efforts. So you can directly download this guidebook. Okay, ma'am, can fintech be SROs? SROs will be a not-for-profit organization. SROs, it is a non-profit organization that is established as a Section 8 company. So it cannot work for profit. The fintech companies, why they are fintech companies? They are working for profit. They are innovating for profit. They are acquiring the customers for profit. While the SROs, they are non-profit organizations that are a Section 8 company. Okay, it's like a NGO. Okay, each SRO should have member from same. Yes, if a SRO is for the fintech space, it will have the members of the fintech space only. It will have the fintech companies as a member, as members. You're most welcome, Black Shadow. As it has been shown now that RBI will prescribe during the time of application, during the time of inviting the application, when the RBI is inviting the application, while the RBI is inviting the application, then only the RBI will inform, the minimum members that are prescribed by the RBI. RBI will inform when RBI is inviting the application. Okay. You're most welcome, Sorish. I hope you all have liked the session. So do tell me in the comment section if you like the session. Yes, it took a lot of time to make the PPT, also to read through the guidelines, because it is such a lengthy guideline and everything is very important in the guideline. The question can come, the statement based questions can come from each and every page of the, from each and every topic of the guideline. Okay, so I tried to bring the full guideline so that you do not have to go back to the notification of the RBI. It can become troublesome. So I try to bring everything. So yes, it is a lengthy session. I will be closing this session now. Otherwise, there will be complaints that the session is very lengthy. So do tell me the homework answer in the comment section, and do tell me that you have liked this session and should we continue with these important but lengthy sessions. Okay, or do you want small sessions only that I should just cover it from the main points? Okay, so thank you very much.